Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday, June 15th Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting. I'd like to begin by saying that this meeting had been advertised publicly and we met all state requirements to continue to hold the meeting. We'll begin with a call to order and a confirmation of quorum. Start with a roll call to my right. Tim Gropp, the Economic Director of the Redevelopment Commission. To my left, Economic Development Member Gordon Rundle. To his left, Dr. Terry Reed, representing the Speedway School District. In socially distanced out in our audience is Vice President Jennifer Miller.
We got her on camera.
Oh, there she is, right there. Also in the audience is Tim Ramian, the Executive Assistant, and Vince Noblet, our Town Council member. And you can also see Shelby Bowen from Rebar Development out there as well. We do have a quorum with 3 members here, and we'll proceed with the meeting. If anyone would like to make public comment, please step to the lectern and address us.
We did not receive any prior either. We
Okay.
had put it out via social guidelines, and nobody emailed any comments.
Okay, perfect. Hearing none, we'll proceed to consent of the meeting minutes from our regular session on May 18th. Those were distributed previously. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, we'll approve that by consent. And Mr. Gropp, would you review the claims and expenses before we approve them?
Just a few notes on the claim docket you received. There's been a couple changes since Friday. The American Structure Point, $11,000 is a portion of the contract we had signed on the design for 16th Street parking lot, assuming the land swap gets completed. That should have come out of our TIF fund. It was taken out of our operating. We have shifted that, so it'll show up out of our TIFs moving forward. So just want to make that clear. Beyond that, there are 4 Marion County Treasurer. So that is the Lenore property that we just purchased. And there was an error in closing in which we bought 3 parcels, but there's 4. One of them, there was a series of errors between the title company and the county, in which long story short, the GIS jumped the gun and combined a couple parcels that aren't actually getting combined until next year. Our survey's right, our title works right, but when we credited at closing, we were about $4,500 short of past due and delinquent taxes. So sorting through all of that, I give our First American Title Company credit. They're going to eat that $4,500. So we paid the taxes due, took them the checks. They're going to cover the error of about $4,500, and then moving forward, we'll pay the fall ones, which is just the taxes. So it'll all get cleaned up, but there was some confusion there, and that's what those 4 are. We have one more that'll get paid next month, which is for 4501 West 16th Street, the billboard site. So just want to make clear that those numbers wouldn't match the tax bill. Taxes due, because that was an error. But again, I thank them for owning up to the error and correcting it, and everything should be fine moving forward. Most of the office supply purchases were due to prepping for return from COVID-19. Tim Ramian, give him a lot of credit. He's done a great job getting the office ready for that and getting us safe to return to day-to-day operations. And the second U.S. Bank, the Series 2019, again, the 2010 one was taken out of TIF, but the one under it was not, so I had them stay consistent and take those fees, those bond fees out of the TIF fund instead of the operating. My only other note is on the budget versus actual. We've caught an error in the system, which was corrected today. So when we were using the credit card, it was getting credited to the town manager's account versus ours, which is fine for me, but But we want to make sure that our budget's properly reflected. So it was right in the system, but it wasn't coming out of the report properly. That's why none of those expenses have been on our claims. So we are going to correct that at our next meeting, and then I'll update our budget accordingly. It's mostly training dollars, classes and webinars, things like that, that we'd put on a credit card. We don't use a credit card very often, only when we have to sign up for something typically. So we caught that error, we looked into it, and the clerk treasurer's office has fixed the system to make that proper moving forward. So we'll correct that and update this accordingly. But in general, we're in line.
Any questions for Mr. Gropp? Entertain a motion to approve the claims as distributed.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we approve the claims as submitted.
All in favor of approving the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No one? So 3-0, and the claims are approved. Moving on to the director's report.
Just a few updates on projects around town. So Founders Square is moving along nicely. I believe the new power lines are up across the street, so they should be pulling the poles real soon here. About a week ago, Crew Car Wash received approval from the BZA to move forward, and that will probably be in spring of 2021, just due to delays due to COVID and cash flow. But that project has gotten the green light. The strain poles for the intersection were put up today. I have a picture I'll send all you guys tomorrow, but you're starting to see the decorative poles up for the intersection. We're excited about that. They're just about done, if not done, with the storm pipes going in and sewer. They're working on water line. They continue to crush concrete out there from the road, and you see a definite, if you drive by, you're going to see a definite height adjustment on the site. It's pretty significant, but that's just because we're keeping all the dirt on site. So progress is being made. I think the timeline right now is to have all the infrastructure completed by August. So we're excited about the project. It keeps moving forward, and we'll keep you posted. Beyond that, I think I've said this the last 3 meetings, but the fencing around 10th and Polco should be here by the end of the month. There was a delay from the manufacturer. They're telling me that it should be any time now, and so we'll keep you posted on that as well. And then that's next month we'll be having a public meeting for the overlapping taxing units as required by state law to kind of go over. Last year, we're a little behind on this just because we haven't met in person, just to kind of do an annual report, if you will, and take a quick snapshot at how we spent our TIF funds over the last year, and kind of a outlook of where we see ourselves going in the next year, which is a difficult thing to predict just due to the COVID and the cash flow. We don't have a very clear picture now. We'll know a lot more after the draw, both the end of this month and hopefully August, but we'll do the best we can. So I wanted to mention that that'll be at our next meeting, and that we are working with IMS and others to try to help out our businesses as much as possible over the Brickyard weekend. It's not the Brickyard weekend we were hoping for, so we just want to make sure that if you're in town, if you're around, please support local. And go out and have a drink or something to eat at one of our local establishments, both on Main Street and throughout the entire town. A little mention to McGilvery's. I didn't mention them at the council meeting, but they, during all this time, they've done some renovation as well. So plenty of options around town, and if you're around, please go support our local businesses.
Any questions? Thank you, Tim. Any new business you wanted to discuss?
Nothing today.
Okay. Anyone have any questions in regards to new business or old business? All right. And with that being said, we'll wrap this up. Does anyone have any additional comments they'd like to make? all good?
All good.
All good. We're in, the state's in stage 4 of reopening, and Marion County's lagging a little behind that, but to Tim's point, please go out and support the local Speedway businesses. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting.